Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live on News Up here at Desawe Kanda. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're also live all across the world on 3news.com. You can also watch a live stream of this program here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 live on Facebook and X. Right now, we're going to be posting videos and statements of the issues we're going to be talking about here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Remember, Hot Edition is proudly brought to you by Old Mutual. Do great things. We're going to be telling you the 10 years of the impact and achievement of Old Mutual in Ghana. Stay with us here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this evening, we'll tell you details as the stage is set for an all-nothing battle between Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and former President, flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. It come off December 7, 2024. This evening, we'll find out what is indeed the impact of this particular two situation for the country's future. Also, we have an exclusive interview with Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy. Stay tuned in here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And also this evening, anxious dialysis patients await the opening of the renal unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to outpatient services after several appeals. Also, we'll tell you what's happening in Ada as a result of the renewed clashes as a result of the misunderstanding concerning the Songo South project and matters arising. All these, plus the latest in business, sports, and entertainment coming up over the next 60 minutes here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. I am Alfred Ocansey. Welcome. Let's get into the details now. The die has been cast and the chips arranged in perfect harmony for what is to be anticipated an ultimate decider for the presidency on December 7, 2024. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is set to go against a former president, flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, in a battle set for the hearts and soul of the people of Northern Ghana. Now, for the first time, the two leading candidates of the major election find their roots from the north. The vice president, after a grueling contest, emerged tops with 61.43% of valid vote cast over the weekend, while his close-set contender, as Kennedy Ohene-Japan, polled 37.41% of the votes. Now, the New Patriotic Party says they've, in Dr. Bawumia, found an antidote to NDC's John Mahama. Question is, can the NPP break the eight with John Dramani Mahama? Now, let's take a listen to Dr. Bawumia's victory speech, where he promised to be his own man in leading a transformation agenda. Take a listen.
My vision is to build an inclusive, food self-sufficient, data-driven, and systems-based nation that will fully participate in the global digital revolution to resolve problems and also to usher in a golden age of benefits from our natural resources. When we bring the talents of the youth together, we will surely build a mighty nation. Together, we can transform this nation and do even more in many areas. I therefore invite the youth, particularly the Gen Zs, to join me in this journey of great possibility.
And that's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there, and here on your election command center. Now, let's stay a bit further on this. And a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy, is joining us on Zoom with his thoughts on an analysis of what happened on Saturday and Dr. Bawumia's election, going into election 2024. Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy, Good evening from Ghana, and thank you for joining us here on 3FM 92.7.
Good afternoon from here, and good evening to all your listeners.
Great. Is it possible to have your video on? That is, if it's convenient for you.
Sure.
Great. And it's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Dr. Kobnatha Kennedy is joining us from the United States, where he is practicing as a medical doctor. Dr. Kobnatha Kennedy, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, you watched closely how things played out on Saturday from your base in the United States. I mean, your own quick assessment of the just ended presidential primary?
Well, a number of broad statements. The MPP can say that it has gotten rid of the eternal charge that it cannot or will not nominate a governor, even though this one came with a lot of question marks. So it will be better for us to refer to the election of Paul Afoko as national chairman rather than this time. I think this time there were a lot of questions, and even though Kennedy Japan, who I think ran a very good campaign, in the end rallied to the banner and said he thought the primary was fair and everything. I think right until the last day, he was complaining about the process. He was saying it was unfair. So his assertions, or what did they call it, post-election conversion, that everything was done fair, will be taken with a little bit of a grain of salt. But we can say that a governor has been elected, whether there were problems with the process or not. Secondly, I think that for his victory speech, the most important thing Dr. Bawumia said, which you didn't play, was that he will be his own man. I think his most significant problem going into this election is that he is being weighed down by his association with this.
Hello, Dr. Kennedy, can you hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I lost you briefly. You were saying that statement, and that's the next thing I was coming to, Dr. Bawumia's statement that he will be his own man. How did you receive that, and how much of an impact will that make in an attempt to reply those who have made the point that he will be a puppet of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo?
That will be one of his most significant challenges during the campaign. I think that historically, now that you had said in teasing this up about what happens to the MPP in the future, I think that we must go to the past. I think that the MPP has been an authoritarian party in the sense that the last presidential candidate or leader who was truly democratic was Professor Dubois. And of course, he lost his re-election bid because he was too principled to marshal party structures in his own behalf. Mr. Kufuor did that shamelessly in 1998, getting party leaders to change the date of the Congress, and later on having somebody like Kakrai Samwasak, which was one of the biggest tragedies ever to befall MPP, would have made an exceptional general secretary. But having said that, I think President Kufuor was generally an inclusive leader, except from his 11th hour attempt to foist Alan on the party. Otherwise, he was generally inclusive. And then Dr. Bawumia's current problem comes from the successful attempt by Nana Addo to foist him on the party, which was done willy-nilly, led to the departure of Alan, who I think will be a factor in this election. So that is where we are. So going forward, we need to get rid of our authoritarian streak and be a truly democratic and inclusive party. I think Dr. Bawumia will have been an outstanding candidate in his own right if he were not weighed down by the triple anchors. The triple anchors are his association with this government, the 8-year jinx that Ghanaians always have, and the unfortunate introduction of religion into the campaign, which he unwittingly did a lot to highlight.
See, and that bit about the fact that he has his own vision and that he's coming in with his own plan as well. You get the sense that continuously all through the statement, he made the attempt to put himself as the new man, somebody who has to be seen differently and not necessarily to be a victim of the baggage or the garbage of this administration. Was that, did he succeed in getting you to see it that way based on that speech?
No, he didn't. But I think it is a good start. I think that a lot of people don't know it. Part of why President Mills lost in 2000 was because he pledged to go to President Rawlings for advice morning, afternoon, and evening. And part of why he won in 2008 was that he defied Rawlings in picking his running mate, and that became very public. So Dr. Bawumia has his work cut out for him, trying to persuade Ghanaians that he will indeed be his own man.
Now, the most important question here that would lie in the minds of many, and especially for the NPP, is that after this, does Dr. Bawumia now possess the quality, that wherewithal, the gravitas to help the party break the eight, to break that cycle that you made reference to earlier?
I don't know that Dr. Bawumia, or for that matter, any individual candidate, quote unquote, possesses the gravitas to win an election. Nana Addo wouldn't have won except for massive support from Ashanti region. He doesn't even come from Ashanti region, and a lot of people had doubts about his presidential qualities. So I think that this is not just on Dr. Bawumia alone, it is on the whole party and the campaign. And I think that, like I said, Ghanaians generally have changed the party in power after every 8 years. That is a significant tradition that we're seeking to break. I think that whether we sugarcoat it or not, this government has not done well. A lot of Ghanaians have a very negative view of this government. And for better or for worse, Dr. Bawumia will bear the brunt of the frustration of Ghanaians for their dissatisfaction with the government. And of course, there is the religious factor, and there is the fact that former President Mahama, who the MPP's bad performance has significantly rehabilitated, is back in the race. And I also think Alan will be a fairly significant factor in the race, even though in public the MPP doesn't want to admit it. A lot of MPP people are very nervous about the impact that Alan would have. I think that we can say almost certainly that he will take this to a second round. The big question is whether he himself can be in that second round, which I think is his goal.
And that is, from where you said, you think that he can be in that second round? That is, Alan?
It is possible, but I don't know whether he possesses the skills and qualities and the grit to get into the second round. I think he's already made some mistakes. For example, I thought that his exit from the MPP, even if on principle was a good thing, was too precipitous. He should have spent more time doing his homework before doing that. And even after leaving, you get the impression that sometimes he reflexively defaults into defending the MPP. So it means that he's going to have challenges running as an independent candidate. But having said that, this is a particular year where historic proportions of Ghanaians are unhappy with both major political parties. And if ever there was a time when an independent candidate could make an impact, it should be now. And Alan has significant name recognition. So if he runs a very good campaign, it could have an impact on how the election shapes up, the debates and all that kind of thing, and helping to hold the MPP accountable for the things they did during the last 8 years. So I think that he would have an impact.
If you look at the results on Saturday, there are many who have raised questions about the Alan factor that you talk about? Because in the Ashanti region, for instance, which is thought to be Alan Chamantin's major, place of support, Dr. Bamia had a very significant vote margin in there as against his closest contender, Kennedy Japan, talking about 22,205 as against 11,390 by Kennedy Japan. You have Alan Chamantin's strong base of supporting the Ashanti region. In fact, 2 days before Saturday, he was there. In fact, it was on Friday. He was there on Friday to engage some people there. Many thought that it was just a way of just also getting the people, the delegates who support him to vote for Kennedy Japan. And Kennedy Japan, at least from what we saw, benefited extensively from Alan Chamantin's base in terms of the delegates who support him. Now, would you say that the outcome of this presidential primary on Saturday, especially in the Ashanti region, has, in a way, diffused that mindset that Alan Chamantin still has a hold on the Ashanti region?
No, it hasn't. And in fairness, when you say Alan was in Ashanti region, his presence in Ashanti region was quite significant. He got quite a lot of volunteers to show up for his event. So it is obvious that he still has a significant sway in the Ashanti region. I think, though, that, of course, talking about the results, if Kennedy Japan got 30-something% of the votes, which most people think are protest votes against the misgovernance of this government and the frustrations, it means that there are what do they call portents of trouble over the horizon, and that if I was Dr. Bawumia and the MPP campaign strategist, I wouldn't sleep easy at all.
I see. And could it just be just about protest votes? Almost 38%? Certainly, Kennedy Japan brought something to the campaign, isn't it?
Yeah, he did. But, a lot of people, of course, if you realize his comments after the votes were cast were very different from his comments as a campaigner. During the campaign, he was calling out the establishment and promising showdowns with, whether it was with Bawumia or with Chairman Wontumi or with Central Region. And he was exactly validating all the concerns that Alan had raised. And he was actually warning the MPP that Alan would be a very big factor in this election. Then all of a sudden, nobody knows what happened to him. He was, parroting the party line. So it means that quite a lot of things happened behind the scenes. But I'm just saying that, yes, he brought something to the table, but what he brought to the table was an anti-establishment streak in addition to the protest campaign. So I'm just saying that there are a lot of MPP members who privately, even though they wouldn't go public, are unhappy with the stewardship of Nana Addo. And as Boakye Jakun said, there are a lot of people who maybe have resigned in their hearts.
How is the coming days going to look like? I mean, from where you sit, especially because now the NPP knows his opponent, the NDC knows his opponent, they're all coming from the northern region. There's a lot that's going on between the two of them in terms of analysis. But from where you sit, how are things going to play out?
Well, there are three campaigns, significant campaigns, and actually, I'm telling you that there might be a another significant independent candidate from what I'm hearing, but that is too early to say. But let's begin with Dr. Bawumia. I've told you about his challenges. One, the 8-year age for Ghanaians to change. Two, his central role in what most Ghanaians perceive to be a failed government. And three, his unfortunate introduction of the religious element into this campaign. Those are his three challenges. Of course, the fourth thing is that the person on the other side also happens to be a former president. All those are very unusual factors. So those are his challenges. So what does he need to do? He needs to persuade Ghanaians that indeed he will be his own man, and two, that a lot of the government's failures occurred in spite of him being there, despite the fact that he's trying to take credit for their successes. I think that will be very challenging, but those are his challenges going into the campaign. Then when you look at Alan, he left the MPP, and this probably is going to be his last hurrah. He has, contrary to what the MPP is saying in public, significant numbers of admirers in Ashanti and a lot of Akan areas, even including in Greater Accra. So I am not sure what the ceiling of what Alan can do, but I think that he almost certainly guarantees that there will be a second round in this election. And by the way, we need to give kudos to Ben Efson, who predicted very early that Kennedy Japan might beat Alan. So we need to at least acknowledge that this time he was right. So those will be Alan's challenges. He almost certainly will take this to a second round, but can he get into the second round? Is he good enough and focused enough and strategic enough to get into the second round? That's a very big question. Then there is John Mahama. I think he almost certainly will get into the second round, but what makes it interesting is this is the first time a former president is on the verge of reclaiming the presidency. He lost the last time. I'm sure he heard a lot of bad things about him and his legacy, and all of a sudden he's been resurrected. Might he, based on the lessons he learned, be a completely new John Mahama, who will be transformative and inclusive? And if he is able to articulate those lessons very well and to show that he will be a different president who has heard the anguish and the cries of people on the streets, it might be that he could even do it one time.
Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy, very detailed analysis, comprehensive indeed. And I know that this is just the beginning of a consistent conversation we're going to be having ahead of December 7th, 2024. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, and good evening to your listeners once again.
Good evening to you. As Dr. Kwabena Arthur Kennedy is a leading member of the New Patriotic Party, joining us from his base in the United States, practicing as a medical doctor, here on your Election Command Center on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on KESME 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Meanwhile, an elder brother of Dr. Bawumia, Abukari Bawumia, says the family will fully rally behind him as he takes over the top spot of the NPP. He spoke earlier to my colleague Johnny Hughes on Sunrise.
We are not going to sleep because I know Dr. Bawumia is one of the most humble people I have ever seen in my life, because he is like somebody who can prophesy for him on things, and it has to happen. So that's the kind of person I know Dr. Bawumia to be. He is so broken that if you are of a bad character or a character that is not good, you have also yourself change and be like him. I'm very satisfied because I have seen that he has implemented a lot of ideas through his own initiative. It wasn't in their manifesto. He killed them outside their manifesto. And this is the kind of person that I'm talking of as Bawumia. Yes, Bawumia is the second coming of that, because Ghana is at a collapse and Bawumia is coming as a savior. A Northerner coming as a flag bearer of an MPP. A first Northerner in the party to be a flag bearer. A first Muslim. I, the one saying to you, I'm a Christian by faith from 14 days. And I know very well my brother is excellent to be somebody. So the family, we are very proud of him. Somebody who cares about the life of each and every member of the family.
He, however, denied allegations of vote buying by Dr. Bawumia during the primaries in Wale Wale.
No one paid a person here. No. They gave money to Dr. Bawumia to go and give to those who will be hungry. And for their transport, the constituency give monies out. Well, no one shared any person to anybody. It was the party which fed them. The party fed them. The money was given at a rally. It was the individuals. It was the delegates. But the only contributions they will give him is to let him win this election is to add their tongue and give him some support. Oh, Wale Wale, he's done a lot. He has made us to have inter-town rules in Wale Wale here. Our hospital was collapsed. He rehabilitated it by himself. We never saw incubators in Wale Wale hospital. We have incubators right now. Some of us never saw asphalt before in Wale Wale. We have asphalt roads in Wale Wale. And not even Wale Wale alone. We have seen a lot of changes.
Well, that's the brother of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. That's Abukari Bawumia talking to my colleague Johnny Hughes earlier today on Sunrise. And we still remain your election command center. We'll pull the brakes on the NPP matters arising just a bit because anxious dialysis patients await the opening of the renal unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital to outpatient services after several appeals. The unit has been closed to outpatients for 5 months due to myriad of challenges, including financial and procurement issues. My colleague Godwin Asediba has been speaking to the public relations officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Mustafa Salifu, on this matter.
There's good news here. The renal unit is ready to help outpatients starting today, November 6. They decided this in a meeting on November 3, and soon the MIND officially announced it, waiting for approval from higher ups. The hospital's public relations officer, Mustafa Salifu, shared the scoop with me earlier, talking about the hopeful feeling around the reopening. Today, fewer patients are getting dialysis, showing a change. At the moment, the entrance point to the renal unit has been locked. This is a big deal after months of being closed since May 2022-2023. People who needed dialysis had to go elsewhere, usually to private health facility. The kind of opened a bit on September 27, but made dialysis more expensive. After people complained, they lowered the cost back down, but the unit stayed closed. The Health Minister, Kwekwajiman Menu, said they had to open it up again. Keep an eye out for more updates when the Health Minister talks in Parliament later this week.
Well, Godwin Asediba there, and good thing is that there's some indication there's going to be reopening, but how does this really address the concerns of the persons living with kidney diseases? And thankfully, Kojo Bafwa Henkra is a dialysis patient. In fact, he's the convener for this group of persons living with kidney diseases, joining us on the telephone. Mr. Henkra, thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition. So we get an indication strongly that this outpatient unit of the renal department is going to be open. We don't know when, but there's that indication that it will be open anytime soon. Does this give you any sense of relief?
Yes, definitely. It will give us a sense of relief because this 5 months, some days now, it has been very difficult time for us. Very, very difficult time for us. And during this period too, we've lost almost about 19 people. 19 people. So
19 people living with...
Yes, living with the kidney issue. We've lost 19 since they closed down.
But, well, we don't know when it would be finally opened, but at least there's that strong indication that that's going to happen. Have you, between Thursday when we last spoke and today, had any communication directly from the hospital as to what is happening?
Yes. The point is, it was like we all heard in the news that we've been hearing that the minister has given them ultimatum for them to open the unit. So it's something that we've been waiting for. And then just Thursday, we learned they were supposed to open it. We didn't see anything. And then we heard it on Friday that they open on Monday. But as I speak to you, as we speak now, I just got a call from the unit about an hour plus now that they will start working by Wednesday. They are now putting some few things in place so that they will start calling us, because normally you just can't walk into the unit. You need to get an appointment and they'll give you a schedule before you can go in. So we are waiting. But so far, I think I'm the only person that they've called me now.
You are the only person?
I'm the only person who have received a call from the unit.
Right. But yeah. Just give me an idea of how you've been coping over the period since the last 5 months.
Alfred, you wouldn't like to hear it. You wouldn't like to hear it at all. You wouldn't like to hear it. We've gone through a whole lot of issues. whole lot of issues. I mean, the private dialysis centers are charging very, very high prices. And the point is, you need it. Either you have to sell your things to go and get a dialysis done, or few friends will help you, one or two. They cannot continue helping you. So it has not been that easy for us this 5 months. That is why I'm saying during this period we've lost the 19 people because most of them couldn't have money to go on the private sector to go and do it. So they were just hanging in there waiting for the book open, and they never open. And most of them are gone.
And we understand that some of the private health facilities offering these services have also increased their prices over the last 2 months. True?
Yes, it's true. Because if Kolebu was going to charge 760, 65.42, how much my private facility? He is going to buy that. And that's why we're hammering on the argument that the government should look at the tax on the consumables that they've been buying. Because they will tell you the consumables are very expensive. He goes, he brings it, and then he come and pay big taxes on it at the port too. So it's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there. We don't even know what we are doing now. No, we don't even know what we are doing now. So, Alfred, it's a big challenge, and it will be a big relief. I hope they say the open should not come at 9. They wonder that they will close the unit back again.
Hopefully so. And we'll definitely keep tabs on it, and we'll be updating you a lot more as the days go by. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's Kojo Bafo Ahenkra. He is a dialysis patient, a convener for the group of persons living with kidney disease who have been making this passionate appeal to government through the health ministry and by extension the Korle Bu Chichen Hospital to open the outpatient department of the renal unit. We understand there's a strong indication in the coming days it will be opened soon. We don't know when, but the health minister is expected to appear before Parliament on this matter. And the residents of Ada 4 and adjoining communities in the Ada East District are set to continue to face acute shortage of water supply. And this is because the Ghana Water Company Limited says it's unable to treat the contaminated water, which is an overflow from the Akonsombo Dam spillage. There are reports some areas have dirty water flowing through their taps after being without potable water for the past 6 days, with many households and businesses equally affected. The water scarcity has led many residents to resort to unhygienic sources of water. The situation is not peculiar to Ada alone, as other parts of the capital, including Bawe, Makati Hills, Anya, La Paz, amongst others, are facing similar challenges, blamed on faulty equipment, increased demand, routine maintenance works, and some unforeseen circumstances. The Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Marty, says the situation is being monitored keenly and will be resolved as soon as possible.
Within the Ada community, because of the high turbidity as a result of the spillage of excess water from the Akonsombo Dam, we are unable to treat water in Kesebe treatment plant in Ada, same with Adidome treatment plant. So we are monitoring the system and doing everything possible to enable us treat water and to supply to the people. We have given ourselves a tentative date of Wednesday. We should be able to complete the repair works and all other things that we are doing within the plant by Wednesday. Now, what I want to assure the general public is that there's water in the western part of Accra, but we are not producing at full capacity, so it's affecting the pressure. Our expectation is that people will manage the little water that is flowing in the system to use it wisely so that we can have more water in the lines to extend to other areas where the flow is erratic. We apologize for the inconveniences caused, but my expectation is that everybody will bear with the situation whilst we try to work to restore supply to normalcy and to improve the system.
Stanley, in the meantime, are there steps the Ghana Water Company Limited is taking to ameliorate the plight of the customers experiencing the water shortage? My colleague Samani reports of residents in some communities there who have not been able to take their bath because there's no water. What are efforts from the GWCL to reduce the plight?
Yes, we are giving priority to essential service providers like hospitals and schools, and then some critical installations as well. But beyond that, areas where they are deprived seriously, we have given out some helplines. The unit committee leaders, assemblymen, opinion leaders within the communities can call the helplines and then draw attention. And so then we can see how best we can move into the area to support. So that is the situation now. But we are working seriously to finish the work on Wednesday. And we are praying that all things being equal, things should go well. There shouldn't be any other challenge to enable us finish the work on Wednesday and to restore supply.
Better communications at the Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Mante there. But my colleague Emmanuel Somani was within some communities at Bawe and engaged some of the residents about this water shortage over the last couple of days.
Almost since like 2 months, the pipe is not flowing. You can see the tap is empty. You complain. Since we buy water from the cars, we buy water from boreholes. The gallon 1 cities.
We have a lot of challenges when it comes to water problem here. The water is not flowing. It can take like 2 weeks, up to 1 month it's not flowing. It affects our daily. We don't bath. Sometimes we have to buy, this pure water, sachet water to take our bath and everything. Even if we want to make a tea, at least we have to buy from pure water people so we can use it. So, to do our tea and everything. So it really affects us a lot.
Like 2 weeks now. Next our neighbor, those who have borehole to fetch water, or unless we go and buy it at Zongo. We've called the office, they didn't tell us nothing.
So some of the residents on Bawe also sharing their plight with us. It's a situation that we're monitoring quite closely. If you're listening to us now on 3FM 92.7 and you're facing the situation with acute water shortage in your community over the last 2 months, we understand, let us know about it. And we would continue to seek some answers to that effect. We are receiving some disturbing news of incidents of brutality and bloodshed. One person has been reported dead at a town called Tuflopo Salom within the Segek constituency. And we understand the issues relating to the Adan Songo Lagoon has become a ground for these altercations within the communities in the Segek constituency, and community dwellers against the supposed investor are also now, over time, there have been protests and some demonstrations about this particular incident. And these developments, we understand, is also spreading into areas in Ada. And Richard Commodore, as a security consultant, is joining us on the telephone because he's monitoring this situation quite closely. Mr. Commodore, thank you so much for your time here on Hot Edition. These, at least based on the pictures and videos we're seeing, that's worrying to say the least. What exactly, from what you've gathered, led to this latest incident?
You remember September was a year ago when the atrocities happened in Kablevu. The chief and his son and the community were bastardized and brutalized, cutlass wounds, gunshots. Some of us led a crusade for peaceful coexisting between the investor of the Adan Songo Lagoon and the communities within the Adan West district. To a very large extent, with the support of the media and people from the office of the president, the place has become, and people have lived as brothers and sisters within the community. For some time now, this whole bloodshed has begun again. And what happened was that there has been a clash between the workers of Electrochem, which is the investor taking charge of the Adan Songo Lagoon, and the community dwellers along the Songo Lagoon, which is about 27 or 18 communities along the Songo Lagoon. And these community dwellers have issues with people who work for Electrochem, which is the name of the investor handling the investment of the Songo mining or the salt mining in the lagoon. Lack of understanding and unnecessary infighting and external forces promoting agitation is leading to many atrocities and many people being killed, many people being shot, and many people being cutlassed. And this is where we find ourselves as people who come from Adan. with an ancestral gift our ancestors give us. And today it has become a curse. And we are just calling for all reasonable people to come to the aid of the communities that stay within the Adanwe district. Alfred, my fear is that if nothing is done about it, it's going to be between one community to the other, families against the other, and friends become enemies. And the casualty levels might go up. Recently at Bonikopi, there has been an atrocity there, and many people ran away from the communities. We cannot continue in this paradigm, and that is why some of us from this area who speak for the people who have been affected, we are calling for help. All manner of persons who will help our people arrive at a place where they will have their liberties and freedom to stay in their homes.
I've been checking. In fact, my producers have been checking with the Ghana Police Service, and there's some uncomfortable quiet or on the part of the Ghana Police Service on this matter.
You will be surprised that sometimes police people come from Tema, they come from Kase, they come from Sigi, and they will be standing there, and cutlass wounds, people with cutlasses and guns will be shot at individuals. And the core responsibility of the police is to protect life and property. And so some of us are beginning to get worried. Why Dampari, my own Dampari, has never got into Kablebu, has never got into Floko Salom, has never got into many of these places, and the police are being protected in this particular matter. The police people watch when people have been bastardized and beaten a cutlass and all that. Then they come from Tema or wherever they come from. Within some level of senselessness, arrest people and put them in cells. People who have gone to Kase Market, people who have gone to farm, have nothing to do with this infighting among community and investors. They bundle everybody, kids and their wives and children, pregnant women and everybody. And these police people senselessly bundle these people and put them in prison. What kind of senseless policing is this? I have said this country for years, and my people cannot be beaten. And Dampari and his people sit out there. Whoever is behind this, we are just warning that day is going to come when our people will live in freedom, and that day nobody should come.
So is it a thing that you're going to take up to petition the police hierarchy on this matter?
I have done this for over a year. The problem was a year when the Kablebu issue came. We spread our resources, our knowledge, and our everything. Thank God for the people we have in the media who have alerted this and brought it to life for our people. Where is the national security in this? Where is the police in this? Where is the president in this? Where is the vice president in this? Where are the opinion leaders in this particular matter? And where are our people being bastarded? Are they not Ghanaians? And are they not citizens of this country? That the police have a core duty to protect life and property. And why are they being beaten? As if they are slaves. Look at this barbaric something. Today, somebody is dead. What will be the explanation to this?
Mr. Commando, appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Richard Commando is a security consultant joining us on this matter. It's something we're keeping a close eye on and how things are playing out in that part of the Sikh community. The Ghana Muslim Conference has descended heavily on the United Nations on its handling of the Israeli-Gaza conflict. An angry former minority chief whip, a member of parliament for the Aswansi constituency, Muntaka Mubarak, speaking to the media in parliament, said the United Nations has outlived its youthfulness.
That this thing that is happening to Palestine today can happen in any part of Africa, because if Holocaust ended in 1945 and today this is happening, and therefore in our reportage let us attach humanity to it, because you see what is happening now is about people blocking between we and them. Every life matter, and therefore, like we have said, the UN unfortunately is gradually becoming a useless body. I don't have any other better adjective to describe it, because a United Nation that cannot enforce its own resolutions. So what is it?
As Muntaka Mubarak there, this is Hot Edition. We're live on KESMI 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and also on W93.5 in and beyond. At Hot Edition on 3FM is brought to you by Old Mutual. Find insurance policies that shield your business from unexpected situations and also benefit from our expertise in offering comprehensive solutions to expand your business, and many, many more. Old Mutual is 10 years old in Ghana, and the impact is there for all to see. Old Mutual, do great things.
Old Mutual, many aspects of your business growth are our business. From insurance for your employees so they can provide their loved ones with a secure future, to pension fund solutions to ensure employees a reliable retirement plan. Protect and sustain your employees and business with Old Mutual. Old Mutual, do great things every day.
Gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
3 FM 92.7.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
Every minute, every hour, every day, there is so much to talk about, from local news to international news, sports, entertainment, and business. Join me, Alfred Ocansey, and the news team every weekday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Hot Edition. Be my guest as I bring to you factual, up-to-date news on happenings in our country, the West African sub-region, Africa, and the rest of the world. Hot Edition, hot, accurate, authentic. Your week is never complete without us. Make a date with me on 3FM 92.7. Your Urban Lifestyle Radio.
Hello there, welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. My name is Michael Obodu. Coming up, economist urges government to address cocoa syndicated loan repayment challenges as banks demand higher premiums for 2024 syndication over fears of potential risk debt. We have the details coming up shortly. Please stay. Well, let's take you straight into our first story now, as economist and Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, Professor John Gachi, is urging government to address challenges that fraught the repayment of the cocoa syndicated loans. Now, government is struggling to finalize this year's cocoa syndicated loan agreement with international banks. Now, sources revealed that banks are demanding higher premiums to hold what they fear could potentially become a risky debt. Speaking to 3 Business, Professor John Gachi cited uncertainties as reason for the bank's resolve.
The accommodation of the currency on the arrival of that money. But what has become of that money is that there is fiscal infiltration into the management of that money, some of which have gone into cocoa roads. Repayment has been a challenge some time back. There is a lot of uncertainty hanging on the cocoa industry as to whether it's been managed financially well. It's an issue that finds itself in the IMF program report, for which the IMF demands a restructuring of how cocoa industry is managed. To the extent that you heard the finance minister announce that now he's on board and plus another minister on that board, that indicates that there is a huge cloud of uncertainty on the industry and the ability of the industry to service its debt. Those are the considerations, and perhaps I would say those are the investors who make to determine whether they should give the money.
That was an economist and Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School, Professor John Gachi. Now, ahead of the 2024 budget presentation by the Finance Minister on November 15, CEO of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, is calling on government to create a contingency fund for the procurement of gas to power the sector. Now, this, he says, will ensure availability of fuel for the country's thermal plants to curtail any potential power outages.
The thermal contributes a significant portion of our power generation mix. And if you look at the thermal also, gas is the main conduit. And so to the extent that even payment that we are unable to do to a transporter of gas, it became a result into doom. So it means that we have to do our homework. So what I call on the government is to, number one, make sure that they create a contingency fund available.
That was CEO of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, speaking there. Now, finally, the board of the Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, has announced Samuel Sechi Hyde as the acting chief executive officer of the bank. Sechi Hyde is expected to continue driving the growth strategy of the bank while adhering to regulatory and statutory guidelines. With nearly 3 decades of experience in banking, Samuel Sechi Hyde's career includes a role as the CEO at UniCredit Ghana Limited. He has been speaking exclusively to 3 Business.
Yes, 25 years experience to bear to lead the great team at UMB to enhance productivity, which will bring about profitability that will meet both stakeholders and shareholders' expectations.
So that was newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the Universal Merchant Bank, acting in an acting capacity, Samuel Sechi Hyde. That will be all for the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, kindly check out our website, 3news.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports.
Outside the Babayara Sports Stadium. However, the Kotoko head coach believes that he isn't under so much pressure as his mandate expects him to achieve longer-term success.
In the pressure. I mean, it's a league we are playing, so there's no pressure anywhere. I mean, losing a game happens at every level in competition, so there's no pressure. We only have to make sure that we get the things done right. That's all. Sometimes when you get what you want and you think you have arrived, sometimes you lose your focus. So I'm sure we just have to redirect their focus and then make sure that they get things done right. That's all.
And so that was Kotoko coach Prosper Nate Ogum there speaking after the game, and the result actually thus leave the Porcupine Warriors in unfamiliar territory as they find themselves in 14th place with 10 points after 9 games. Nate Ogum definitely is feeling the heat, especially from the fans. But let's head to the English Premier League now, where Mauricio Pochettino would be making an emotional return to Tottenham Hotspur this evening as his Chelsea side face Tottenham Hotspur. Remember that the Argentine coach was the head coach of the London-based club between 2014 and 2019, a time which he took the club to the Champions League final.
Back after 4 years, in a place that we have amazing memories and we create amazing memories together, and I think it's special. I cannot lie. I'm not going to lie.
And so that was Mauricio Pochettino, the speaking ahead of the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea. That would be happening later tonight at 8 p.m. and we'll bring you updates on that on our handles at 3 Sports GH. My name is Ore Kwampofu, and Entertainment with Akofa is up next.
Thank you for your time. You're still tuned in to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It's now time for the entertainment news segment powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Evictions have set in for the contestants of Mentor Season 12 after a night of inspiring performances in honor of the victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage. 2 contestants, Hero T and Selassie, had their hopes of winning the reality show dashed. Now here is a wrap of last night's show. Let's take a listen.
Dubbed Gospel and Inspirational Night, before Mentor 12 saw contestants at their artistic best as they blessed the stage with some awe-inspiring performances dedicated to the victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage. Elbows delivered a stunning performance of Judy K's Capable God. But it was Bino's performance that won the hearts of the judges as he was crowned the star performer for the first time in the competition.
Congrats to all of you. You really shone tonight and everything. But unfortunately, there can only be one star performer, and he's already standing in the middle. Bino.
Congratulations, Bino. Star performer for tonight.
As performances rounded up, 2 contestants, Hero T and Selassie's journeys, came to an end as they failed to live up to expectations.
Their best. They've learned from our judges' critiques as well. And tonight they'll be saying goodbye to us.
Well, with 2 contestants down, and 14 more vying for the coveted title, Mentor 12 has become even more competitive. To ensure that your favorite contestant secures the bragging rights of being the winner, complete with a recording deal, a cash prize, and other exciting rewards, cast your votes by dialing *713*13# or download the TV3 Reality app from the Google Play Store or App Store to vote. And to my final story, celebrated Nigerian musician Tubaba has said that he will not return to Netflix's reality TV series Young, Famous and African for another season. Speaking to 3 Entertainment exclusively in Ghana, he described his experience as a terrible one.
Very recently, we saw you on Young, Famous and African. We just want you to share just a little bit of your experience there.
Man, my experience there was terrible.
Terrible?
It was terrible.
How so?
For me.
For you? Okay, that's your personal...
The audience, everybody enjoyed the cruise.
But why so?
Because it's not me, man. It's not me. I'm a very real person For me, it wasn't for me. I mean, it's beautiful. It's entertaining. It's nice. But it wasn't for me.
So that means we're not going to see you again.
Nah.
You're done. But it'd be nice to see you like the first season.
It's not for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't enjoy that.
But for you, you signed out.
That is just simply it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the cruise and all that.
Is this your vote of thanks already?
Yeah, well, call it that. If you want to call it that. I think I was the most boring person on that show.
You think? I think people enjoyed you and they were actually surprised to see that.
Well, that's how we wrap up on the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Thanks for listening. Keep your dial locked on 3FM 92.7. This is your urban lifestyle radio.